All right, I'm not going to beat around the bush with this video. I'm just going to get straight into it. So essentially, I see a pretty big problem with this whole self-improvement movement. And it gets on my nerves to see this, right? I feel like I know for a fact this is happening, right? Because I've heard guys speak about it. I've been through it myself. This is a real thing. Where guys are basically cutting themselves off from just the real world in general. For the sake of self-improvement. They're cutting themselves off from having real world experiences, from going through actual shit, from socializing with people, from just doing things in general, going out into the world and actually doing shit. They're not doing this. They're not doing real world things. They're not going out and experiencing actual life because they're so caught up in this whole self-improvement monk mode mindset where they think they have to fucking sit in their room all day, consume content, work on a business even though they're like 13 years old and they don't know fucking anything about life. Because these big creators online have told them that you need to cut yourselves off, you need to grind, you need to work hard. And yes, in hindsight, that message is it's good. You should cut off your loser friends, yeah, 100%. You know, all these messages are good in hindsight. And it's a good message overall, but you got to remember, like, there's people who will take this. It's easy to take this the wrong way. And to essentially, as a very young person as well, just not experience anything because you're so caught up in this whole self-help mindset, this whole self-improvement thing, where all you do is you just stay at home and maybe you go for a walk, you go to the gym, whatever, but all you do some meditation, some journaling, all this jazz, right? All these good habits. But you don't do anything else. Like, you don't really have a life, to be honest. And you might say, oh, I'm happy doing this because I'm improving myself, yay. But like, what are you actually doing in the real world? What stories do you have to tell? Because personally for me, I don't want to be the guy who, when people ask about my life, or I'm talking about my life, I reflect on my life. I don't want to be the guy who was, 15 years old. I mean, I'm 20 now, so it's different, but I don't want to be the 14-year-old who was convinced that he had to go and fucking shave his head, go monk mode, grind away, ditch everything, cut himself off from the real world, and just not do anything with his life. And then years later, he wants to be a fucking, I don't know, he wants to be a self-improvement YouTuber. You haven't got any life to talk about. And this is the thing. You see all these big YouTubers. Why are they doing well? Why are all the big self-help YouTubers doing well? Because they've actually gone out and done stuff. And those things weren't necessarily, like high quality activities. They were quite degenerate, right? I'm not saying you should go out and be a degenerate. I'm just saying you should go out and actually experience life, experience hardship, experience the real world. Don't just cut yourself off completely because you think you're so special because you fucking meditate for 10 minutes a day. You're not fucking special. There's millions of guys doing this shit now. I'm just gonna it's just like an ego hit to you if you think you're special because you're on self-improvement, you think you're this amazing person. What do you do? What do you actually do with your life? Because the truth is you probably don't fucking do anything. You cope and you say you do all these good habits, that's great. Yes, don't get me wrong, those are good things, you should do these things. But this doesn't mean you should cut yourself off from the real world. I hear guys telling me that they're like in school, they're in college, whatever it may be, and they just isolate themselves completely. They don't socialize or any of this shit because they think they're so high value and so special because they're on self-improvement that they can't go out and do real shit. And I'm just sat here like, okay, I see what you're saying, and I used to have this mindset as well. But do you want to have a life? Do you actually want to go out and do things? Because to me, it just sounds like you're kind of cutting yourself off completely from the real world. Fucking my shoulder's hurting from holding the camera, but... And it's just sad to see. And this is especially sad for the younger generation who are much more heavily influenced by these people. Because listen, when I was 13, if I discovered all these big YouTubers, I would have just like fucking... I would have had none of the experiences I had because I would have just cut myself off completely. And that scares me because the experiences that I had growing up during my teen years, going into adulthood now, is, they were valuable. I learned a lot. And I'm glad that I had those experiences. I'm glad that I was a degenerate for some time. I'm glad that I tried to fit in so badly. I'm glad that I got rejected by girls and all this shit. I'm glad it happened because it's taught me a lot about life, and the guys are just going to avoid that. And they're going to avoid all these experiences, which would be valuable, these valuable life experiences, because they've gotten the shortcut, the cheat code through all this self-improvement content. This is the danger of this content. And it's funny because I'm obviously making self-improvement content, but this is more I'm making content more in line with what I wish that I saw from people, which is essentially, I want to set you on the right path, but that path needs to be what you truly want. That path needs to be authentic to you. There's a guy doing pull-ups over there, fuck. Don't just blindly follow these creators and don't just blindly listen to what they're saying. You need to do shit for yourself. That's essentially what I'm saying. And I had this really interesting conversation, right, with this guy recently. And yeah, man, it just hit us like, we just so blindly follow these big creators without ever thinking for ourselves. And we don't do certain things because we think it's like, oh, it's not a worthwhile activity, it's wasting time, you know. The whole point should be that these creators, me included, right, all these people you watch, should set you on the right trajectory of like, okay, you should do these good habits, you should not do these bad habits. Great, because then you'll be happier. You just will be. It's just how it works, right? You do the good habits, you stop doing bad habits, you'll feel better about yourself. But don't go to the extreme where you're just cutting yourself off from everything because it's a waste of time. It's not, these people you talk to aren't high value enough and all this shit. And this isn't to say to never, you know, to not cut off people who genuinely are bad for you, because that's what I genuinely believe. That's what I did, right? But also don't limit yourself so much to the extent where you just will not talk to anyone who isn't on self-improvement, because then no one will want to speak to you because you're just this weird guy who doesn't socialize with anyone. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that fucking guy. Man. So please just don't blindly follow all this content, all these creators. Don't live your life through the lens of someone else. Don't live your life to make, because you think it will get you validation from all the self-improvement nerds and all these fucking big creators who will see you doing exactly what they told you, even though it might not be authentic to you. You might be doing this workout routine which you don't even enjoy just because some big creator told you to do it. You might be on monk mode and shaved your head even though you really didn't want to do that, just because some big creator told you to do it. And now you're unhappy because you genuinely didn't want to do it, but you're only doing it because you think it might get you validation from these big creators online. Who might read your post in a fucking YouTube video and then help you with your problem. Just live authentic to you. Stop thinking so much about this whole time wasting. Stop trying to optimize everything in your life is basically what I'm saying. Stop trying to optimize everything. You can't optimize everything. And just accept that. Live a life where, you know, you're actually doing shit which you want to do because you want to do it. Don't think, oh, but I can't do this because this YouTuber would criticize me if he knew I was doing it. So fucking what? Do what you truly want to do. Be authentic to yourself. All right? I'm just walking fucking around the woods here randomly. But yeah, this is the point of this video, right? Just don't cut off yourself from the real world and don't limit the things that you want to do, that you truly want to do, just because you think they might be, oh, it's not a, you know, it's not 100% optimized way of spending my time. Fuck off, man. You know what I mean? I just find this, I find these extreme self-improvement nerds so fucking cringe sometimes. And I was one of them. I'm not saying I'm a fucking exception. This is the whole point. This is the reason I'm making this video, because I've heard guys talking about this stuff. And I see it in myself from like a year or two ago. And I just wish things were different, because I cut myself off from the real world for a long time and I didn't experience anything. And I could have gone through very valuable things, and now I'm putting myself through certain experiences on purpose, just to experience them, you know? And you should do the same. Don't think you're special just because you do 10 minutes of meditation or any of this fucking, like, listen, do the good habits. I'm not saying not to do them, I'm just saying you need to, just don't live your life through the lens of someone else, some big creator, just because they told you to do certain things. You don't have to live the exact life they're living. Be authentic to yourself, be true to yourself. And this doesn't mean to be a fucking loser and like do all these degenerate activities because they're true to yourself. That's not the point. But I think you're logical. If you're watching a video like this, I think you're logical enough to get through to the message of what I'm saying, right? I hope so anyway. So yeah, that's just a little rant for this video. Hope you found this valuable. I hope that if you needed to hear this, then you've heard it and you're going to take it and, you know, just change your life up a bit. Do more things, try out new experiences. Not just isolate yourself completely for the sake of, sorry, not a goth, not just isolating yourself completely for the sake of monk mode self-improvement. Especially if you want to be a self-improvement YouTuber. Well, you think people are going to listen to a 14-year-old kid who for the next 5 years goes on monk mode on his grind, doesn't experience anything, and has nothing to talk about? They're not going to listen to you, mate. So especially if you want to be like a fucking YouTuber or whatever, go out and do more things. That's what I would say. But yeah, that's just my rant for today. I hope you found this valuable in some way. But that's pretty much it from me. I've got coaching down below if you're interested. I'm not going to force that onto you or anything. I don't really like selling things, but it's just there if you want to check it out. So yeah, till the next one, boys. Stay focused.